tayo ay naghahanap ng paraan para kumita. Kumakayod araw-araw pero parang di pa rin sapat dahil sa pagsubok ng mataas na inflation rate, madaming kaltas sa sahod, madaming bills na kailangang bayaran. Always living in a paycheck-to-paycheck setting, ika nga.
Hello, welcome to Your Money Matters. I'm your host, Risa Singson Kaupeng from Manila, Philippines. In the 4th season of our show, we're going all around the world to chat with Filipinos who work in different countries, working at different jobs.
Salitang abroad ay masarap pakinggan, pero doon mo pala mararanasan yung mga hirap na hindi mo siya inaasahan.
Hindi lahat ay may alam sa financial literacy o tinatawag natin na financially educated.
Importante i-educate din natin yung family natin. Ano ba talaga ang mga priority na gastusin?
Financial literacy knows no boundaries. Dapat tayo ay may sapat na kaalaman kung paano hawakan ang ating kinikita. Kaya ang mga IMG campaigners sa iba't ibang dako ng mundo ay nagsisikap upang mapalaganap ang mga kaalaman tungkol sa financial literacy. Kilalanin natin sila in our latest season of Your Money Matters.
We're with Gil Concha, who lived in France for 10 years. Pero bago natin panoorin si Gil, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be alerted tuwing meron tayong bagong episode. Kasi gusto natin mas maraming makarinig at matuto sa mga success stories ng ating overseas Filipinos.
Protect yourself and your family and be certain with your future with Fidelity Life. It has been a long-time dedicated partner of IMG that provides life insurance benefit exclusively to its members to meet the risk protection needs. In partnership with Everest Memorial Services, Fidelity Life is also providing its members with free access to 24/7 Memorial Concierge services. With the consent of the beneficiary, Fidelity Life shall apply the insurance benefit to cover the expenses for the memorial services of the deceased member. At Fidelity Life, the care of our members and their families is our first and most important business. Be life confident by protecting your loved ones and securing your future.
And as promised, ayan, kasama na natin si Gil Concha. Gil was a former Mormon missionary na pinalad na magkatrabaho sa south of France for 10 years hanggang nakahanap siya ng negosyo that allowed him to return to the Philippines for good. Hi, Gil!
Hello! Magandang buhay sa inyong lahat! Bonjour in France!
Yeah! Okay, Gil, naku, dami kong gustong, I know you've guested in our show before, but tell us about how your life was in the Philippines when you were growing up. Bago ka nakarating dyan, bago ka nakarating sa France.
Well, I was born and raised in Quiapo, Manila. Kalapit ko lang si Rex Mendoza kasi sampalok si Sir Rex eh. But then anyway, we had a very good life back then when I was a kid. We have a business, a very good thriving business. We have also a sari-sari store. We have a pandisalan back then, and yung plastic accessories. Kami nga po yung gumawa ng keychain noon eh. If you remember Menudo, kami gumawa ng keychain ng Menudo noon sa Pepsi. So we're one of those makers of plastic accessories. That was hired by Pepsi Cola. Then anyway, hanggang sa nagkaroon po ng problema yung family business, unti-unti pong nalugi yung business ng aking father to the point that he became depressed because of that. So sobrang bait din ng parents ko po, no? Lupa pinamimigay niya sa mga kamag-anak namin. At the end of the day, nung kami naman po yung nangailangan, kami po yung walang sariling lupa, walang sariling bahay. And my father died without he doesn't have enough money. The family doesn't have enough money para sa kanyang burial. So, and then sabi ko sa sarili ko po noon, because my father is a good man, ano? So, nag-serve po siya sa community as a barangay official. My mother is sa church naman siya nagsiserve, sa Catholic Church. And so they're good people. Pero at the end of the day, when they needed the money, when they're the one in need, sila po yung wala. It was a big struggle for us, also for myself, raising my own family back then. Kaya sabi ko sa sarili ko nung namatay po yung father ko, kung saan yung panlibing po niya galing sa limos ng mga kaibigan niya na natulungan niya before. Sabi ko, I don't want that to happen again to any of my family members. So when my mother passed away, before coming back to the Philippines, kahit pa paano na-provide po namin lahat ng pangangailangan during that time. So I came back to the Philippines in 2019, before the pandemic, a year before the pandemic. My mother passed away in 2017. Supposed to be 2018 kami uwi, pero na-delay siya because of that event. But then anyway, it's really God's blessing na makabalik kami ng Pilipinas before the pandemic kasi napakahirap kung during the pandemic kami nakabalik. And so other than that, my family are good people. My parents are wonderful, amazing parents. Kanya lang, hindi po sapat yung pagiging mabait lang. I realized that. Kinakailangan talaga you have the knowledge and the skills to survive life.
That's a wonderful story. So Gil, I'm sure maraming impact sa'yo yung mga nangyari, and some of that you've already shared with us. But what were you working, what was your job before you left the Philippines in 2009?
I'm a training consultant by profession, specialized in health and safety, leadership development trainings like that. So before the 2009 financial crisis, maganda po yung kinikita ko po as employed training director sa isang company that teaches franchising. And then on the side, every weekend ako nagbibigay ng training outside the company. So I earn good money, because per day ko noon kumikita ako ng 10 to 30,000 a day, giving team building, customer service, ganyan, leadership development, etc., health and safety. It was good. But then dumating po yung financial crisis nga po. 2007, 2008, unti-unti pong nag-decline yung mga clients ko, hindi na sila kumukuha ng training. Tapos nagkasakit po yung wife ko ng autoimmune disease, which we discovered only pagdating namin sa France. Basta ang nangyayari po sa kanya, she had this arthritis that causes her pain every day. And gumapang yung pain sa buong katawan niya to the point that every day po siya in pain, hindi makakain ng maayos, hindi makatulog ng maayos. Naging low blood, naging malnourished po siya. And she couldn't walk anymore. Kaya every day binubuhat ko po siya, pag-angat sa bed, ganyan, bababa from the second floor, then iaakit ulit sa second floor. Every day po, for almost 7 years, we were doing that, carrying and lifting and helping her to get up, etc., etc. So it was very difficult for me, especially with 2 little daughters back then. To the point po na yun, kinapos po kami dahil nga po wala pong sapat na kinikita, sa gamot pa lang, parang kulang na rin ho. So, yun po yung naging life namin, and I was borrowing money back then, and to the point yung mga kaibigan ko po, tinataguan na ako. Kasi alam nila pag lalapit ako, manghihiram na naman ako ng pera. And sabi ko naman sa kanila, hindi naman to para sa akin, para sa mga anak ko lang, pangdagdag, pambili ng gatas, ng diapers, para sa aking mga anak. And so, then anyway, I didn't know what to do back then anymore. I really don't know what to do. Sabi ko, hindi naman ako bobo, hindi naman ako masamang tao. I serve as a missionary, and I serve in the church. Kaya lang, bakit nagkakaganito ang buhay ko, Lord? Sabi ko sa kanya, anong kulang? Sino pang dapat kong kausapin? Ano pa ba ang dapat ko pong gawin? So, nag-networking din po ako. Kasama ko si Chinkitan dati, Joey Bonifacio, the father franchise of MLM in the Philippines. But then again, sabi ko, what's missing? I'm a training director po nung time na nag-struggle din po ako, kaya lang kinakapos. Kinakapos po talaga, and I didn't know what to do anymore with my life. I even joke myself, sabi ko, sa Pateros kasi po yun one evening, napadaan ako sa tulay ng Pateros, and then sabi ko, tumalon na lang kaya ako. I joke myself
Wow.
with that. Oo, sabi ko, ganung extreme. Pero sabi ko, Lord, sorry, alam ko masama po yan, pero I don't know what to do anymore. Please help me. Kung kinakailangan ko pong mag-abroad, sige, payag na ako, sabi ko sa kanya. Until yun na nga,
Ayan.
yan.
Yeah, yan na, yung prayer na yon. Kwento mo, yung hulog ng langit na pagkakataon, kaya ka nakapunta sa France.
Yes,
Anong naging trabaho mo doon at
yeah.
paano nabiyayaan yung pamilya mo?
Well, again, it's a big miracle. Negative ang bank account ko, di ba? Nanghiram nga po ako ng pera. But then again, na one time, nakita po namin sa newspaper that the Philippine French Embassy is allowing Filipino professionals to go to Europe with a family visa, but you have to qualify. So sabi ko sa wife ko kung mag-a-apply ba ako o hindi. Kasi unang-una, alam ko baka hindi ako pumasa, negative ang bank account ko. Usually you have to show probably show money like that before you can really go. Then sabi ng wife ko, wala namang mawawala sa you try it. So she's the one who gave me courage to do it. And I did. I passed the papers, the requirements and everything. My proposal, yung kailangan kasi may proposal ka no, na bibigay sa kanila para ma-approve kanila. So parang it's like asking, what can you give us? So that we will allow you to go to France. So I did. And that same day, nung sinabit ko yung documents, they asked me to wait. Okay? Pero nagulat po ako, tinawag ako ng visa consul, kakausapin daw po ako on that same moment. Sabi ko, hindi ako prepared for interview. Then anyway, I was interviewed, I was asked the question, so it's like asking the question, what can you do, what can you give us, something like that. And so I did answer the question, and then at the end of the interview, he said, okay, Mr. Concha will call you pag approve yung visa mo. And half-heartedly, sabi ko, ma-approve or not, it's not a problem for me. But then sabi ko kay Lord, kung ito yung gusto mo para sa akin, then please help me. Sabi ko sa kanya. Anyway, parang resurrection po, madam. After 3 days, tinawagan po ako ng French Embassy. And sabi nila sa akin, Mr. Concha, approve na yung family visa mo. Your family can now go to France. And this is what I said. Sir, pasensya na po, wala pa akong passport. Kasi I was not expecting to be approved or anything at all. Kasi, I know my situation. But then, it was a blessing na siguro baka ito yung gusto ng Panginoon. But I went to France, and then different level of challenge pagdating doon, not really knowing what to do, etc., etc. So, but then, I asked the Lord, anong purpose mo sa akin? But one thing is clear, para po sa akin doon, that the Lord wanted us to be there because para mapagamot ko yung wife ko. Kasi na-discover namin before we read that in the newspaper na ang technology para mapagamot yung wife ko is in France. So, number one po doon. So, I prayed that day when I read that, Lord, kung possible makapunta kami ng France. Pero of course, it's thy will, not my will. And so, and then the rest of the story followed afterwards.
Yeah. Wait. I'm curious, Gil, ha?
Yeah.
So, what did you offer that consul? Because he said, it's practically asking you to sell yourself to me. Parang, sige, your product is yourself. Ibenta mo yung sarili mo. And what did you offer? Because you didn't know how to speak French, or marunong ka ba mag-French?
No.
Not even.
Definitely not.
So,
Definitely
what
not.
was it na nilap up ka agad ng French embassy?
There's gonna be a consultation fee for this. Just joking. Well, the thing, madam, is this. I actually, before the interview, I've heard of this jockey saying, can you believe it? I was disapproved to go to France, to Europe. I have the money. I can even pay them $1 million if they want to. Just allow me to go to Europe. But she was disapproved, So money was not the issue siguro sa kanila. But at that time when I was interviewed, they asked me about my competency, about my proposal. They read my proposal, and that's why I guess after they've read it, they asked me to go in and be interviewed immediately. So nagkataon po na ang isang expertise ko po is competency development. And the name of the visa is Competency and Talent Visa. That's the name of the visa. And so at that time, I created a proposal about my what I call my module on training development, which I called Seed to Change, which is, I'm hoping to create that book very soon. So nung ginawa ko po yung proposal na yun, focusing more on the competency development of from personal leadership to organizational leadership. Nung nakita po nila yun, they were so impressed with that 2-page lang po na proposal. And I mentioned to them about what I'm doing as a consultant, what I can do as a consultant. And what's really funny is they never ask me if I have the money. How much is my money in the bank account? They just ask me about my competency. And I guess it's really mama, talaga siguro miracle po talaga na nilaan ng Panginoon para sa akin. I focus more on my competency, that's it.
I believe in that. Okay, Gil. So, nagtatrabaho ka sa France. Magandang trabaho mo. You're a white-collar worker. Ibig sabihin, nasa opisina kang nagtatrabaho. Mataas di hamak ang sweldo mo kumpara sa sweldo mo dito sa Pilipinas. So, you're made. I mean, that's more than most Filipinos can ask for. Pero ano naging problema mo sa pera?
There you go. That's a very nice question. You know what? Nung unang panahon, pag ikaw ay nakapag-abroad, parang parang done deal na yun, talagang makakabili ka ng bahay, ng sasakyan. That's a long time ago. But then again, when I arrived in France, kaka-change lang pala from francs to euro eh. Iba yung currency noon. Yung francs noon talagang makakapalang pera nila, pero nung nag-euro, nung may peace na, no? So I arrived during the euro time. So I arrived in France with no work for 1 year. And so, kasi pagdating ko doon, madam, wala pala silang proposal na parang job for me. Wala pong specific project that I will be doing in order to elevate myself to the level that they expect me to become. There's nothing. They just sent me there, bahala ka sa buhay mo. Parang ganon. They expect me. Yes, parang ganon po yung dating. Kasi ang entry ko po is entrepreneur. Yun po yung entry ko as an entrepreneur. And so what happened po is at that time, I don't have the money. I have the knowledge, the skills, and ability. Pero sinong a-accept sa akin? Nag-apply ako ng trabaho sa mga offices, but they are not responding to my applications. In fact, there was a case na merong isang nung nag-apply po ako sa kahit training assistant lang dito sa isang pinakamalaking company doon sa Monaco na talagang big time po talaga. I passed my resume. And then, mayroon pang manager na nagbabaka sa akin doon. Pero sabi ng manager, hindi raw pinapansin yung resume ko. Probably because I'm brown. Alright? And then anyway, ang inaccept nila, yung mga puti, mga European din, mga ganyan. Even though that person was not qualified for the job. In just a week, nag-resign or tinanggal. And then here I am still waiting, but they never called me. Anyway, ang naging option ko na lang po doon, sabi sa akin ng mga Filipino, Gil, kahit anong tinapos mo, hindi mo magagamit dito yan sa France, sa abroad. Ang bagsak mo, kasambahay pa rin. Sabi nila sa akin gano'n. But in my mind and in my heart, I beg to disagree. Sabi ko, I know I can do better. I know I can have a better life while here and abroad. Kaya lang, ano nga yung gagawin ko? How can I go back to the Philippines, retire, wealthy, etc., etc. So anyway, I did try. I humbled myself. I tried working sa yate. Naglilinis ng yate, nagbantay ng villa. To the point, madam, naglinis po ako ng CR din. Kasi sa villa na yun, I have to clean the house, the entire house, pati CR, nililinis ko po yun. I did that. I tried. So, hindi ako nag-inarte. Just, kanya lang po, in my heart, I know na I can do better than this. So, I understood the life of the OFWs. For a year, I had no specific job, na permanent job. Pero after that po, nataon naman po na nagkaroon ng opening ang PNB, Philippine National Bank sa Europe. So that was the transition from government to private ownership ng PNB. So ako po yung unang na-hire doon from the transition as the one in charge for marketing and as a teller sa Philippine National Bank in the south of France. So kami po yung my first office po doon. So, yun.
Wow.
Yun po yung first year ko.
And
And that's it.
so, how did IMG fit into all this? I mean, like, yung dating mo sa akin sa kwento mo, parang maid ka na eh.
Yeah.
So, how did you join IMG and how did it change your life?
Well, being in abroad, di ba, ganun ang isip mo eh. Parang, this is it. Kasi TNB, Philippine National Bank, tapos ang remittance, hindi mawawala yan. Ang Filipino palaging magre-remit yan. Hindi po yan titigil hanggat meron silang dapat padala, no, kayang ipadala. So sabi ko, baka maid na ako dito. Sabi ko, pero ang salary ko po nun, madam, believe it or not, a net income of 1,200 euros. Ang bahay ko po ay 650 euros ang rent. So,
Wow!
yeah, and ang requirement, bago ko makuha family ko, kasi nung dumating ako doon, ako muna sa first year. So, bago ko makuha ang family ko, may requirement sila na size ng bahay mo. Bago mo makuha ang family mo, isasubmit mo yon and everything. And so, anyway, I did everything that I could. I borrowed money just to be able to pay for the advance and deposit kasi sakto nga lang ang pera ko. Tapos po, in just a few months, anong ma-regular po ako, saka ako nag-decide na kunin po yung family ko. So, I thought I was made as well, being an employee. But, you know what? Whether nandun yung family ko or wala, kasi mas magandang makuha ko sila eh. Kasi kung hindi po, tuwing magpapadala ako, unlimited. Walang specific. Basta magpadala ka lang. Unlike kung kasama ko family ko, specific yung magiging expenses po namin. Okay? So, nung nakuha ko yung family ko, you know what? Na-realize ko, sabi ko, ano bang pagkakaiba? Nasa Pilipinas ako, nasa abroad ako, pero ang dating ko po, kahit isang tuka pa rin. Kasi kailangan ko po, as in, eksakto lang ang pera. O minsan kakapusin ka pa. Buti na lang po, meron pong support yung government sa mga bata. Kahit pa paano, may pandagdag, no? Kahit pa paano. Pero sabi ko, hindi po pwedeng aasa lang ako sa support ng government. What if mawala po yun? So what will be our life in Europe? And I don't want my children to grow up struggling, na parang beggar to what the government can give or become sila'y maging mga kasambahay din na kahit anong pang tapusin nila doon sa abroad, kung hindi nga sila makakatagpo ng magandang career po doon, makakasambahay din po ang bagsak nila. You know what, madam, true enough. I met some Filipinos there na nagtapos nag-aaral sa Europe, pero nagwawalis ng kalsada. No? Meron pa nga doon, CPA graduate po, Italian po siya. Pero ang naging trabaho po niya ay mayordoma. Kasi sabi niya, mas mahal pa raw ang sweldo ng mayordoma kaysa pagiging empleyado as CPA. Italian po ito. So sabi ko, pinag-aralan ko po yung future namin doon. And so until we decided to really come back to the Philippines one of these days. Kaya lang yung tanong nyo nga, madam, paano? Yung po yung big question eh. So yes. I have set that's why in my training, ma'am, I give 3 key questions. Magkano, kailan, at paano? Magkano yung financial goal mo para masabi mong ready ka nang mag-retire? Is it 10 million, 20 million? Kasi ang goal po natin doon, madam, is mag-LOI ka. LOI means living on interest ka na. Yun yung sekreto ng mayayaman doon. Nagtataka yung OFW, bakit yung amo niya wala namang ginagawa? Bakasyon dito, bakasyon doon, pero hindi nauubos ang pera. Only to find out, na yung amo pala niya ay nag-i-invest. That's the real future. Pag nakapag-invest ka. Tapos yung interest na lang ang kinukuha na panggastos po nila. Kanya lang, magkano yung financial goal mo para masabi mong ready ka nang mag-retire? At kailan mo siya gustong ma-achieve? At yun na nga po yung question, paano? Diyan pumasok po si IMG. Kung saan, nung in-introduce sa akin si IMG back in the Philippines, pag-usapan natin retirement, tatawanan kita. Bakit? Kinakapos nga ako eh. Laging kulang nga pera namin eh, nangungutang pa nga ako. So anong retirement? Ang pag-uusapan natin. Okay? There's nothing to talk about when it comes to retirement. Except that, I wanted to increase my cash flow. So how can I do that? How can that happen? Okay? And so, yung po yung nangyari po, I was given the chance to, once again, in France this time, mapakinggan ulit si IMG. Na-attract po ako sa topic on mutual fund. Kasi nung nasa bangko ako, ang laki ng requirements bago ka makapag-open ng bond fund pa lang. So, 200,000 po ang requirement. Sabi ko, paano yan? Sabi ko, sakto nga lang yung pera namin, paano ako makakaipon ng 200,000 para as initial deposit Tapos ang gain ho, magkano din lang naman. Only to realize, sa turo sa IMG, na kung magdederecho ka sa mga mutual fund companies, ang gain po niya is nag-average ng 15 to 18%. Sabi ko, totoo ba yan? Baka scam yan, sabi ko sa kanyang ganyan. And then, what led to more discovery is, after finding out na talagang totoo, ignorante lang talaga tayo, kulang lang talaga tayo sa kaalaman, mutual fund in the Philippines is also tax-free. Tapos, ang gain po niya is average of 15 to 18%. Sabi ko, this is good. And then, kahit po eksakto lang po yung kinikita ko, I dared myself to join IMG for my membership, and then I started investing with Kaiser as my initial investment. And then of course I built up my mutual funds little by little, kahit pa konti-konti. And then sabi ko nga dapat specific ang target ko eh. Pero at that time, kung magkano lang yung kaya ko, yun po yung inuulot ko. And then ito na po yung bigger discovery, madam. Na-realize ko, pwede pala akong kumita as a financial advisor, okay, from what I learned or from my financial blueprint na na-realize ko. I will simply share what I learned at pwede akong kumita as a financial advisor para mag-increase ang cash flow ko at hindi ako umasa lang sa eksaktong sweldo ko lang sa Europe. So, doon na po nagsimula po yung journey ko. Yeah.
Wonderful. Gil, you're living every OFW's dream. You returned to the Philippines in 2019. Sabi mo nga 10 years ka sa France, and
Right.
ngayon for good ka na.
Yes.
And you're well established. Meron ka pa bang ano pa yung plans mo for the future, and tell us about your life now. Retired ka na ba? Living on interest ka na ba?
Well, the LOI will take time, definitely. But here it is. This is the amazing discovery. When I was in France, I prayed to God. This is before I met IMG again. I said, Lord, I want to retire in the Philippines sana. Kailan ako pwedeng makabalik sa Philippines para makasama ko yung pamilya ko kung hindi ko sila makukuha. Kasi kapos nga eh. Nag-aalala ko baka hindi ko sila makuha. Pero kung makarating sila dito, kailan kami babalik sa Philippines? Kailan po yun? At pwede po ba akong mag-retire sa Philippines ng mayaman, ng wealthy? Is it really possible? But employment will not do it. Walang yung mayaman talaga sa employment. No? Even nasa Europe pa ako, hindi talaga kaya eh. No, I met so many Filipinos, 20, 30 years working abroad. Believe it or not, madam, first time pa lang nila mag-open ng savings account. At wala silang sapat na savings. Kaya marami po dito, nag-retire na sila, umuwi na sila. Alam ko yung nangyayari sa account nila eh. Alam ko kung magkano yung kanilang tinatanggap na retirement money. Average of 600 euro sa mga normal. Pag ikaw ay may sakit, at umuwi ka ng Pilipinas, medyo mataas ng konti yung kita mo, kaya lang may sakit ka lang. Kasi nga, kasama din yung mga medical expenses support mo. Pero you know what? Bumalik sila ng abroad. From Philippines, bumalik ulit kahit matanda na at nagtatrabaho pa rin po sila hanggang ngayon kasi kulang yung natatanggap nilang pera para sa kanilang expenses po sa Pilipinas, especially kung may sakit ka. Then anyway, here's the question, Lord. Pwede ba ako makauwi ng Pilipinas na mayaman tapos kumikita po ng iba't ibang currency, euro, dollar, pounds, pero i-spend ko po siya sa Pilipinas? May ganun po bang program na kung saan ako ay parang missionary na tumutulong lang sa kapwa pero kumikita po ng pera? May ganun po bang program, Lord? Kung meron po, tulungan niyo po ako. Help me find it. And you know what, madam, these two prayers of mine are now answered by God. I now have more than 18,000 associates all over the world from more than 30 countries. I'm earning in different currencies, and I'm here in the Philippines spending it in peso. So because of that, I was able to buy my own house, my own car, my first times. My dream motorbike, etc. So, earning really well every week, every month, sa aking magandang cash flow. Kaya sa totoo po, madam, hindi ko na kinakailangan pang antayin pa yung aking LOI kung tutuusin. Kasi po, dahil sa edad ko, medyo late na ako nagsimula. Pero possible pa rin naman. Kanya lang, if ever lang na hindi ko po ma-achieve yung financial goal ko kahit papaano. Kunyari, let's say target ko 50 million, ang nakuha ko 20 million lang. Siguro okay na po yun. pwede kong pamana yun sa aking mga anak. Kasi dito po sa IMG, sa amin pong kinikita bilang financial advisor, daig pa po namin ng may LOI. If you will do well here in IMG. Kaya nga po, ang ginagawa ko po, I still keep my commitment, my goal to save money every month. Sa kinikita po from, from business or from IMG, I save it there para one day, if ever I need it, kahit pa paano meron akong LOI. Now, if ever po na hindi ko naman siya magamit, mamanahin po yun ng aking mga anak. Imagine how big it will be, okay, na kung ipagpapatuloy po ng mga anak ko yung mutual fund na nasimulan po namin. But here's the good news, madam. I started in IMG in 2012. I was able to reach my first million in 2014. And in 2015 po, nag-resign na po ako sa trabaho ko forcefully. Bakit po? Kasi nung 2010 ako na-hire sa bank. 2013, pinagtatatanggal lahat ng empleyado ng bangko. Bakit? They changed the strategy from employee and find someone who can na parang owner ho ng remittance center at siya yung makikipag-coordinate na lang yung bank sa kanila. So, buti na lang ho, may license ako as an entrepreneur. Doon po pumasok yung blessing ko sa competency and talent visa. So, sinalo ko po yung pagiging empleyado, ako na po yung naging owner ng remittance center in 2013. Kaya lang po, here's another challenge. Pagdating ng 2015, nagigpit ang Banque de France. Pinasarado lahat ng mga Filipino remittance center for whatever reason. And so, anong magagawa po namin? So, we closed our remittance center in 2015. And that same year was the same year that I was planning to go to the Philippines to attend my first convention, IMG convention. And sabi ng wife ko, sabi ko sa wife ko, tutuloy pa ba ako? Sabi niya, go. Kahit na wala na tayong business, tuloy ka pa rin sa IMG convention. And so I did. Nakita ko po yung bigger vision. And then 2015, yun po yung aking forced retirement at age 41, actually. I'm sorry. That's right. At age 41, tama po. So, ngayon po, right now, after I attended that first convention in 2015, I never stopped attending the convention until 2019, where we came back to the Philippines.
Wow, Gil, your story is so inspiring. Merci beaucoup. Naabot mo na ang ibig mata mo ng milyong-milyong mga OFWs, and I pray that your advocacy will help many others find their path to freedom. Thank you so much,
Definitely.
Gil.
Maraming salamat din po sa pagkakataon na ito. At naway marami pa po kayong matulungan din po ng mga kababayan po natin in the Philippines and in abroad.
Okay, we're just gonna have a short break and Your Money Matters will be back. Huwag kayong bibitaw!
Mula sa pagiging magastos,
Ngayon natutong mag-ipon.
Promote sa utang, utang-free.
from walwalera to ipunera.
para sa pamilya.
Kami,
Tayo.
Isa. Nagtuturo. Nag-aaral ng edukasyong pangpinansyal.
sinubukman ng panahon.
Patuloy na magmimisyon.
Tumutulong
para sa Pilipino na maging malaya sa kahirapan.
One team.
One dream.
One system.
One vision.
One heart!
IMG changes people's lives.
From Turkey to France, narinig natin ang trials and triumphs ni Alvin Alvizo at Gil Concha. Yes, malaki di hamak ang kita abroad, pero madali ring gastusin at mawala, lalo na kapag nagkasakit o na-ospital. Kaya kailangan talaga matuto mag-save, mag-invest at palakihin ang ating pera. Kung gusto mong matuto kung paano abutin ang mga pangarap mo at ayusin ang financial life mo, log on to img-corp.com. Till our next episode, I'm Risa Singson Kaupeng. See you again next week because Your money matters.